Mr. Speaker, 13 times in the last 4 days since the legislature started sitting, the NDP government has misquoted the Conference Board of Canada report as saying that 58,000, 59,000 or 60,000 jobs will be created. In fact, as the Conference Board of Canada says in its report, this is not the total number of jobs created, but rather the person years of employment. Why are the Premier and his government exaggerating the employment impact by suggesting that their program would create 58 to 60,000 jobs?
Why do they always do that?
Permanent jobs.
I read into the record earlier, the Conference Board indicates in year 1, 8,500 jobs. In year 2, 11,100 jobs. In year 3, 12,500 jobs. In year 4, 13,400 jobs. And in year 5, 13,400 jobs. Total it up, Mr. Speaker, 58,900 jobs. Jobs in Manitoba, jobs for young people, jobs to create good opportunities for the future, better infrastructure, which will increase our ability to have a growing economy in the short term and in the long term, Mr. Speaker. Steady economic growth, good jobs, confirmed by the Conference Board of Canada.
Mr. Speaker, according to NDP math, if one person was employed in the first year and stayed employed for the next 4 years, that person would be counted 5 times. You know, way to go, guys. The problem is that if these were permanent jobs, the maximum number you would create is 14,000, less than 25% of the 58,000 this NDP government is misrepresenting. It's not clear if any of these are actually permanent jobs or are jobs involved in the temporary repair or construction of infrastructure. Problem is, time and time again in this legislature, the Premier has tried to spin information rather than to give accurate facts. The Premier, in fact, has spun himself into a rather sticky web. Will the Premier stop spinning and focus on providing factual information to Manitoba?
What this budget does is provide 58,900 jobs over 5 years. Each job is measured on an annual basis, and then it rolls forward. As the infrastructure program ramps up, the number of jobs ramps up, Mr. Speaker. As the amount of infrastructure projects are built and put in place, we get greater economic productivity for the trucking sector, for the manufacturing sector, for the export sector, for the farm sector, value-added foods. All of those things go to markets more rapidly when we have good roads. Communities are safer when there's flood protection, which means more people are working instead of being dislocated by floods. Good jobs are created when we have trades and skills and apprenticeship opportunities in Manitoba. Good jobs are created when we build more schools and allow more people to stay in school and get a trade and get a good job. And the member from River Heights will vote against that vision, that plan for Manitoba. Why would he do that when the young people in Manitoba need those opportunities, Mr. Speaker?
Mr. Speaker, why would I vote for if it is not very credible and provides a lot of misleading information? Mr. Speaker, the problem is that the NDP government's misrepresentation of information is sort of like an infectious disease. Their non-factual releases are spreading like a virus, making their way into publications like this weekly letter of the Manitoba Heavy Construction Association, which I table. It is the respected voice of the very industry affected by the NDP government's unqualified promises of job increases. I ask the Premier, will he correct his government's misleading statements and to stop the spread of these faulty, baseless and empty promises?
Mr. Speaker, the Heavy Construction Association made it very clear. They like early tendering. That allows them to mount the equipment and the workforce they need to do the job. It allows them to keep employed people in Manitoba. The Conference Board of Canada has been very clear, Mr. Speaker. Every year there will be jobs created in Manitoba over the next 5 years. 8,500 in year 1, 11,100 in year 2, 12,500 in year 3, and 13,400 in each of years 4 and 5. Add it up, Mr. Speaker, 58,900 jobs, good jobs for Manitobans, good future for Manitobans, trades opportunities come out of that, and that doesn't count what we're going to require when we do other things that build schools and hospitals and personal care homes, because we're going to require apprenticeship opportunities there, which will create even more opportunities for young people to make a good life in Manitoba, Mr. Speaker. I do not know why the member for River Heights wants to vote against that plan, that vision for a prosperous Manitoba.